Welcome to The Dark Side with Verity, a podcast where we dive into all the real and raw transformations made possible through breathwork. We all have a dark side, but it doesn't need to be heavy. And this is why we share stories to bring in the lightness, to lift the load so that we can all feel a little less alone and know that our stuff doesn't define us. And we move through this lifetime with more ease and grace. Let's dive right in. Welcome and happy birthday to the VIDYA Wellness Club app. I know, very exciting. We've been here for 1 year. What a journey, what a ride. It's not 1 year for VIDYA. VIDYA has been around since 2015. So that is a solid foundation. The app, however, was another layer. And I want to tell you how it was birthed and born and the journey that has followed. Because, as usual, it's never what you think. I took a breath before we started this one because it's going to be a big one, but now I want to do one together. So close your eyes. Take a big inhale all the way to your belly, like you're smelling the roses, and then a long exhale like you're blowing out a birthday candle. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I actually launched the podcast and the app at the same time, like everything I do. So I want to tell you how and why. And I want to tell you about one of the worst nights of my life and the 3 minutes that saved it after. So buckle in, let's go. It was about a year ago today. And I was laying on my bedroom floor, not in the poetic rock bottom is a beautiful teacher way, because as you guys know, I've already been at rock bottom a few times. Do I think it's a graceful space? No. Do I ever think that anything can be as bad as losing my partner? Not really. Like, that to me was the worst. And so that built a weird resilience that I can suffer through everything and anything. And maybe the whole romanticized death and rebirth thing. I'm also a Scorpio, so I feel like kind of that comes with the territory. But I think sometimes we've made suffering romantic, and it's not. Because I was on the floor and I couldn't get up. My body had gone somewhere I couldn't actually follow. People call it shutdown, polyvagal language. It's dorsal, the freeze state. The oldest survival circuit we have. The one that pulls the plug when the system decides there's no use fighting. There's no use running. Your body chooses stillness. It plays dead. It conserves all your energy because that's supposed to be temporary. A few minutes, just a protective dip. And I felt this a few times. The death of Josh years ago when I was younger, through abuse. There has been so many times in life where I've felt my body freeze as a protection mechanism. I'd been in it and on and off for weeks. And I like to think that I'm resilient because a lot of the times I've had no choice. Okay, I've always had a choice, the choice to continue living. There's a part that broke something open in me because I'd been a breathwork facilitator for years at that point. I'd taken thousands of people through their own nervous systems. I'd run events. I run retreats. I knew the map. I could tell you with which branch of the vagus nerve was running the show at that point. I could have drawn you the whole thing on a whiteboard. And at that point, I could not access my own practice. I knew what to do. My body just would not let me do it. And I think that's the thing that we don't speak about, or when people say, I can't meditate, or I know what to do, but I'm not doing it, or I self-sabotage, whatever you want to call it. Knowledge lives in the brain. And when the brain goes offline, you're frozen. The thinking brain hands the keys, here you go, to your survival brain. And the survival brain doesn't care about your certifications, doesn't care about all the years of training you've done, all the knowledge, all the shit that you've been through in your past. And so there I was with all these years of expertise and hundreds of trainings under my belt, and just laying flat on the floor, unable to feel my own hands, unable to put myself into a space to want to do my daily practice. And that sucks. I mean, I could have thought that I was a failure at that point, but at that point, you just don't care. You're not really thinking. You need something that works without you having to show up for yourself, essentially. And so I'm not going to give you, oh, this is the big turning point in my life, because there wasn't one. There's been enough, surely. There was no white light, no voice, no sudden clarity. There was just one breath, slightly deeper than the last one. And I'd been here before. The moment where you just have to take that big, deep breath, because it's the only thing you can do, and just continue to let go. All you need to do, or all you can focus, is on that one breath, and then aiming for the next one to be a little bit deeper. And that's it. That's the whole miracle. The wild thing is, it's not even a miracle because I'd done it before. You guys know I have the tattoo, and it's because of this. The one belly breath that actually reached the bottom of my lungs. And because the body is in a feedback loop, that one breath sent a small signal up to the vagus nerve, to my brain stem, that said, we might be okay. So I took another one, and the exhale was a little longer than the inhale, which was the only technique that mattered in that moment, because a long exhale is the body's brake pedal. It tells the heart to slow down. It tells the system the threat has passed. I did that for about 3 minutes. Belly, long exhale, belly, long exhale, over and over. And did I think in that moment that I was healed? It's a forever journey. Sure, we're all well aware of that now. And let me be really clear. The 3 minutes of breathing did not fix my nervous system that had been collapsing for weeks, but it thawed me enough to sit up. And that was the entire victory of that day. Then I did something I still don't fully understand. I picked up my phone and I recorded it. 3 minutes of the most basic breathing practice. I knew in my heart and soul that it worked, because it worked for me before. Oh, I'm getting emotional. The belly breath is one of the most important, life-saving, life-changing breaths. It's the bringing enough oxygen into your body, and a really big extended exhale. And my voice was shaky, and you can still hear it in the recording. Talking to myself or whoever was listening in their own body. Because in those moments, it's almost like you don't trust your own thoughts. And so having myself guide me through it, I knew that others would need it too. And so I uploaded it for my clients at the time that night. No strategy, no funnel, no business ideal, just my thought and my absolute need for this. Because this is what it took to get me off the floor. And I thought somebody else is on a floor somewhere and they need the simplest possible thing. My biggest thing is that healing doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun, but really needs to be simple for your body to continue to do the thing. Because I thought at that time there was so much going on. I had listened to so many people in my life that once again I'd forgot. I'm forever a goldfish, I swear. But I'd forgot to listen to me in that moment for those couple of months. I thought that I'd lost love. I thought that I'd missed life and was in a real state of comparing and worrying what people thought. And I actually laughed today because people that were giving me their unsolicited advice weren't even following it themselves. And yet I was taking their advice as gospel and thinking that I was doing all the wrong things. And that's so wild to me now that I cared so much about other people's opinions. And this has ebbed and flowed throughout my life. I've gone through times where I'm like, fuck it, I'm a yes person. I'm going to do whatever I want, fully believe in myself. And there's moments where I've become a little bit of a shell of myself and not felt enough, not felt good enough. And I never want people to feel like that. I mean, I can't control that. I can't stop that. But I can create what has helped for me. This is making me so emotional today. And even speaking with my sister today, she even said every event of mine that she's come to, because I always do connection exercises, because connection is the most important thing. Yes, it can be the scariest, being vulnerable and showing up, but feeling connected is more important than the fear. And she said, so many people are filled with self-doubt, feeling not good enough. When it's wild, because just being ourselves is good enough. And surrounding yourself with friends, family, loved ones who fully support you. That's important. Not people sharing their advice. Don't get me wrong, people can share, but when you're in a vulnerable state, sometimes you take on too much. And so this is why these practices are so important, so that you trust yourself. Because the world is full of noise. And if you can quieten that noise and find peace in your mind, you're going to trust yourself more. You're going to feel better, and you're going to let people have their opinions, and they can stay far away. Because ultimately, your happiness is your choice. So here's what I didn't know that night. That recording, that shaky one, the 3 minutes that I made for myself first, is now the single most used practice in the entire VIDYA Wellness Club. It's not really the advanced sessions. It's not the long ceremonial journeys, not the ones you have to spend hours setting up for, not the stuff I spent years refining. It's the 3 minutes that I made on the floor. Because let's be real, that's real time, realistically what we need. Because if all you have to do in that moment is somehow grab your phone and press play, knowing that someone is guiding you through a few breaths and you will be okay, that's what's important, right? Not how well you do at your big breakthrough breathworks. And people come back to it again and again. They use it in the car before a meeting. They use it at 3 a.m. They use it in the bathroom at family dinners. One member told me she'd listened to it over 400 times. 400. And it's not like she doesn't know how to breathe, but having a supportive voice to remind you, it's what our body craves. And I think I finally understand why. It's not the best practice I've ever made, but it's the most honest one. And you can hear, even when I reflect back on this, I needed it too. There's no performance in it. There's no wondering if it's going to be enough for people, because a frozen nervous system can smell performance a mile away, if it thinks they're going to have to do something, if it feels too much, it's not going to happen. It's looking for safety, for genuine co-regulation, for another human who actually means it. So that recording became the seed. And over the following months, I built everything around that one. That one principle that, oh, goodness, so much emotion today. Because that one breath saved my life years ago, and it continues to do so. Because the simplest thing made by someone who actually needed it, available the second you reach for it, that became the app. And a year ago today, it went live. The VIDYA Wellness Club, a space for nervous system regulation, community. It's the stuff you need. And the practice that opens it for most people, the one that finds them first and they keep coming back to, is the 3 minutes from the floor. The app turns 1 today. So in a real way, one of the worst nights of my life has a birthday now. This is where the dark side comes from, because if you don't laugh, you cry, right? And I've made peace with that. There's something right about it. If you're still here, I want to give you the actual lesson, because a story is only ever worth telling if it's useful. 3 things. First, knowing is not the same as being able to access. I had years of knowledge and I couldn't reach it at a time when I was frozen. So if you've ever thought, I know what I should do, why can't I do it? That's not the weakness. That's the neuroscience behind it. The practice has to be in your body before the crisis, so the body can find it when it goes offline. You build the road when it's sunny so you can drive through it in the storm. It's why daily practice is the forefront of VIDYA. That is what brings clarity. That is what creates capacity. Okay, second, the smallest version counts. 3 minutes counted. I keep meeting people waiting to do the big version, the hour-long session, the perfect version, the perfect space, the perfect time. The frozen body does not need your best practice. It needs you to be available, your available one, whether that's 10 seconds, 3 minutes. It needs a long exhale. Breathing into your belly, that is a complete tool. Stop overcomplicating it, please, for your nervous system. Third, the thing you make from your own need is usually the thing that helps people most. I almost didn't upload that recording because it wasn't polished. I mean, I'd never done one before at that point. And probably like how people think about doing their first breathwork session, I was like, oh, I need to be in a studio. I need to record this. I need to do all this. No, because it's now the most used thing I've ever made. Whatever you're sitting on because it's not ready, it might be the most ready thing you have. So the app turns 1 today. It's been a journey. I have huge visions for the app. Has it taken longer than I imagined? Yes. I had to learn a lot of tech. I had to really work out how people were going to use this space. Because connection is the biggest thing a lot of us are missing in life. We think that we're the only ones going through something, when in reality, none of us are special. We all have generally the 3 same fears. And I know, being surrounded by people who are also willing and doing the work is what changes you. You see it change in their face. body shift. It is so beautiful to witness. And so while in the app there is lots of guided meditations, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 40 minutes, I also have live sessions that people can join because of that connection, because of live energy. And there's a space to ask questions and connect. So it's building. I would obviously love you to join. I'm not going to do a big pitch. If you want to come and breathe with me, do. I'm doing one tonight. I'd love you to jump in, practice with us. This one's not 3 minutes. It's going to be a long, big one. This is our birthday version. And we're going to do the work together. We're all going to be on the floor, breathing together on the anniversary of the night that it all started. There's no catch. There's you jumping in. The app is 7 days free. So if you want the link, let us know. And be there with us. Be there to celebrate your shadows, your dark side, to celebrate your wellness, your clarity, to celebrate being alive now. Because being curious with yourself, getting to understand your nervous system, to know your body, allows you to be available for all of the things that you desire, whether it's love, a new job, a career, the confidence to start your own business, to become a breathwork facilitator. When you clear your vessel, you feel safe and you trust it, you attract the most beautiful energies and people in. It's why I love the community so much. Thank you. Ciao. See you in the breathe tonight. That is a wrap of The Dark Side with Verity. Thank you for joining and being here to support our guests as they move, shift and share through real transformation, sharing their stories from the darkest of places, allowing you to see their light. This is where the change will happen. You know the drill. Like, share, chat about it, connect with us. We're here for more and you know it.